T-minus 20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Here's your career affirmation. You're going to rock that interview and get that job. Let's get started. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. I am Anna Morgan, your career BFF. It is Thursday at noon Eastern Standard Time. This is episode 7. I am so happy to be here. And today we are talking about a fabulous self-love and self-care. And this is something I kind of geek out on because it has been a journey for moi. So we're going to talk real quick about a couple strategies that I recommend folks use to elevate self-love, to boost their confidence, show up more brightly, and move through their job search with a little bit more ease and flow. So we've had some folks say hello in the comments. Dan is not here, so that's good. We have David is in the house, although David, we need to fix your settings. Cynthia is here. So happy to have you. Miss Chandra is here from Garland, Texas. I am so happy to see all of you. Adrian Curry, a throwback from the Job Search Angels Day on Clubhouse. Welcome, Adrian Curry, to the Career BFF show today. Julie, all the way back from last summer, the Job Search Accelerator Summer Camp attendee. I hope you are well. Make sure you're all connecting in the comments, introducing each other. My yogi BFF, Sue, is in the house. I am so full of love, right? This is what it's about, showing up for each other, and you all make my heart expand. Thank you. All right, so we're going to dive right in because the mission of this event every Thursday is to come in and solve one of the areas that I see job seekers having challenges with. And this week is under the fabulous self-love umbrella under the BFF method. So here we are. Dan, we are allowed to talk about self-love, but the kind that talks about, not just taking bubble baths and going for long walks and maybe where you're going, but we're going to focus on the nourishing habits that help us be our most amazing selves. So let me get over here and we will get this party started. So with that, okay, let's just be honest. If you look at Instagram or any other social media and that has hashtag self-love, it can be a little of the hype term, and I definitely don't want to be like one of those people. But the reason that I talk about this is because it is deeply personal, like no joking aside. Those of you that know me a little bit better know that I've been through some stuff and I've had to work really hard on rewiring some of my limiting beliefs and how I feel about myself. So that is why this topic is very personal to me. So, I see a little error in my Canva thingamajiggy here, but we're just going to roll with it. This little box above my head, didn't see that on the transparent download. And in true ADHD, form, I redid this 2 minutes before we went live. So, you know what? It doesn't bother me. So, step 1, how can we elevate self-love is to act loving towards others. If you saw my post today, you will see a little bit of the action that I have taken to personally, expand in my self-love journey. And I have found through that process that giving love to others has allowed me to give more love to myself. So if that resonates, throw up some hearts there for me, because it makes a lot of sense in my brain. Okay. So, and that's actually part of really my brand and like my mission with how to be a career BFF, right? Go out and love on other people, support people, take those informational interviews, help someone out in any way that you can. That's a form of love, right? And when we act loving towards others, it makes it easier for us to demonstrate or embody that same type of behavior when we are faced with life on life's terms, right? When, I wake up and step in dog poop, because that seems to be like a quarterly thing that happens in my house. Or, things are not going the way that I expect them to go, right? And it's that same principle that being in that mindset of, for someone who loved me deeply and they knew I was struggling, how would they support me, or what language would they use to get me out of that funk, right? And the same thing, if someone called me and said they were struggling, how would I support them? I would pump them up, help them see, where they're doing really well. And this is something that I struggle with daily, weekly, hourly. And this is something that I shared with the Job Collection Tuesday group last week, that, while I show up in this kind of bold and big way on LinkedIn, like I definitely have those moments that is very similar to job seekers where you're just like, I don't know if I can do this another day, and there's that element of resilience and giving ourselves grace, right? Sue says, I have an amazing daily affirmation from Louise Hayes, Heal Your Body book. I'll send it to you. Yes, I would love that. So there's lots of different modalities that we can use to keep this kind of curiousness and awareness in the forefront of our daily lives, right? And it is a daily practice to embody this kind of behavior. So the second thing is knowing that comparison is a killer, right? When we are constantly comparing ourselves to other people, it is just going to weaken that foundation. And I've mentioned this in other places, but sometimes the most loving thing that we can do for ourselves is to turn down the noise and really look at ourselves in the mirror and be like, you are doing an amazing job, Anna Morgan. High five. And this is a really goofy, kind of quirky thing, but sometimes actually a lot of the times I will walk by a mirror and be like, you're doing the deal. Good job, woman. Positive self-talk, right? But trying to be aware of when that comparison pops up. And what that looks like for job seekers is when you see someone posting that they got a job, right? Or that they're having success in these other areas, or, maybe they have what you want. And instead of being like, I don't have what they have, maybe, it's flipping the script and being like, I can model success after those that, I really admire, and have, look towards taking radical, loving steps to get myself to that next place. Okay. So I'm curious, between these two things, how you're acting loving towards others, and any ways that you catch yourself in making sure that, you're aware that you might be stepping into that comparison place, or that you kind of check in with yourself, so that you're not allowing that comparison to diminish your value and your worth and your brilliance, because there is no one like you. We are all uniquely fabulous. And it's just really remembering that, right? Again, something that I too have to remind myself every single day. Okay, so healthy habits. Number 3, super simple, but this is about self-love. And again, part of the reason I incorporate this in my coaching and in my method is because it is something, it's in service of making sure that I am doing the same things, in the evenings or at the end of the week. Am I mapping out which yoga classes I can go to? Am I looking at how I can, do some meal prep, or whatever's in service of your, healthy habits or your healthy goals. Because science and evidence has proven, when we take action to love ourselves, it just accelerates that confidence, right? And it builds this momentum that is almost difficult to put like words around. And me particularly, like I've struggled with a little pandemic weight that I put on the last 2 years. And I'm really feeling that now as I'm a middle-aged woman. And I feel like the gravity of that. And I'm really looking forward to being home for the next couple of months before the holidays, so I can really make this a priority, right? And again, it's about in service of being our best self. And if we are constantly just focused on applying for jobs or doing informational interviews or tweaking your resume and just go, and all these transactional things that are job search focused, and we're not showing, this love to others, we're not being aware of, the comparison game, and we're not making these healthy habits a priority, all of that activity, is going to be like spinning your wheels. Okay. So that's why I am super passionate about bringing the wellness piece to the forefront, because I have seen time and time again that without this self-care, without this awareness of loving ourselves, that it can really just amp up the anxiety. It can lead to burnout, and it can have life-altering, severe consequences. And so, we're all like, oh yeah, we need to be healthy. But this is bigger than that. Like, this is so critically important. And that's why I make this a point to talk about every single month, because I really want to be a champion of wellness and mental health, and, taking care of ourselves, and it not being taboo and putting it above all else, right? Because we only have this one physical container while we're here for this period of time. Okay. The other thing is we tend to be in this, again, kind of like, love yourself, be so positive, take your bubble baths and your walks, and you're just going to be so aligned and everything's going to be awesome. Fact. When you're really radically honest with yourself, it is about being in your messy thoughts and feelings. And that, for me, might look like when no one's home, sitting down on the kitchen floor and having an ugly cry with my dogs and not feeling bad about it and allowing myself to feel those feelings. If we stuff all the feelings of I'm not enough, or I'm nervous about the job, or I'm worried, or what if, right? And we're kind of stuffing that down, those feelings, that kind of energetic, just stuffing, it has a slew of consequences. Back when I drank to fill that hole because I didn't want to acknowledge my messy feelings or my thoughts. And I know today the way to alchemize and move through those is to be with them, right? And that looks like having a cry. That looks like journaling. That looks like reaching out to a friend and being like, I'm not okay. Can you talk for a moment, right? So messy thoughts and feelings, is also reaching out for help, whether that's from a therapist or, a trusted friend. It could also look like, moving your body, having a dance party to just like shake out that nervous energy. I've mentioned before, yoga for me is a very healing modality to just really tap in and be in my body. For some people, it might be just a walk in the neighborhood. For others, it could be, running 20 miles, but it's also about, honoring where you are and trying not to necessarily judge those thoughts and feelings as a negative thing or place. So let's see. Thank you. Yes. So there's a lot to all of this, right? And again, my goal each week is to come in and provide, a couple high-level strategies just to get the wheels going, just to ground you, just to give you a couple tools and tips to, make you tap into your heart center and think about, how you're addressing and like working with how you show up and love yourself today, right? The other thing is just say no, right? I am kind of a recovering people pleaser. I don't know if anyone resonates with that. But, for many, many times, for years, I was a chameleon, right? You wanted me to be this person? Sure. I was terrified of not being liked. And that creeps up sometimes now too. And I think it's definitely a trigger that we get when we go through the job search process too, because, we're being evaluated and potentially rejected or redirected, I would say. So it's about setting boundaries, right? And that goes back to like checking in with your gut, being radically honest with yourself. Is this in service of, if you're saying yes, are you actually saying no to yourself? If you're saying yes to someone else, are you actually saying no to yourself? Write that down. Because I tend to attract people like me. And this is something that I've had to work on for a long time. So when you're going through this process, whether it's a job search or running a business, being a parent, whatever, self-love, self-care. When you say yes, make sure when you're saying yes, you're not saying no to yourself. So these are some of the strategies that I sprinkle in when I am coaching my candidates and job seekers through the job search journey. So essentially, where job search strategy meets wellness, meets life coaching, meets Anna Morgan energy, here we are, the BFF method. So That is my 2 cents. I feel like I nailed that in 20 minutes today. Very proud of myself. And I'm feeling very loved today, I have to say. But I will tell you, like 2 days ago, I was like, I don't feel good. Which is totally normal, friends. It is totally normal. We're in a super weird place these days. The market's changing, it's competitive. We have a lot of demands facing us. So we just have to give ourselves some grace, give each other some grace, focus on self-love in any way possible, love on other people. And as I said, a career BFF, you can be one, I am one, as someone who loves you when you forget to love yourself. So I am going to leave you with that. I love you all, and I love that you show up here every single week, even Dan, that shows up to throw me off, and John, who's really weird as well. I don't think he's really weird. Dan thinks he's weird. And my sweet friend Sue for showing up, and everyone else who's joined today. I can't thank you enough. Next week, Thursday at noon, is Ask Me Anything. So I am going to look at some previous questions, and I may have a secret guest to moderate and ask me the questions. So in order to see who that might be, they might be here in the audience today. You'll have to come back next week to see who that is. But be a Career BFF. Please follow my company page. Invite your friends, and I will see you all next week. Mwah!